All right, so this is our my interview I did with Todd Beller. He's our director of finance at Kentwood Public Schools. That encompasses all of our high schools, freshman campus, everything from everything. He's the money man basically. So um, it's kind of interesting situation there where he had some information for me already, and we just based that some of the things off there, questions off of that. So this is just a few things that we talked about. So kind of what we're going to talk about is I'm going to get you a little bit of background on him and his information and what he did for education. His basically his job. What does he do every day? Um, what funds equity do we have at Kentwood? How's it changed over the past couple of years? Actually went a little bit farther than 2 years, and then a goal, which I will talk about that as well. And then budgeting process. Who's involved and how far does the school board get involved? And of course, what we talked about majorly here is proposal A, and what effects it had on our district. And that's any information about from us as a student learning about business management. So first is education. He went to University of Scranton in Pennsylvania. Got his business management degree from there, his undergrad. Then went to Ann Arbor, University of Michigan, to get his facilities operation management degree. He's also a very, very, very knowledgeable person. He does have another 18 additional hours in accounting and many other aspects as well. So he's very knowledgeable, knows his stuff, and works very hard at what he does. So we talked about some of his major responsibilities to do, and one of them is to develop and monitor the budget throughout the year. That's and support our mission statement to educate kids with excellence. So that's kind of his job. Make sure everything's done correctly. Provide vision and leadership for everybody in the office. So he has his own office, a central office. His goal is to make sure everything is working and push everybody in the correct area. Also, leadership for daily tasks. Again, he's there every day, making sure things are getting done, and that they stay on budget and everything that's going on. Currently, we have a few things that are with renovations and things like that, so it gets a little crazy. He's just a little odd right now with a lot of things that are going on. I know with my interactions with Todd, it's been very professional, very nice. Anything we've ever asked of him, it's right there to be used. So, fund equity. This is always one thing we always talk about. Is like, how much money do we have? How much do you have to work with? Currently, we're at 7.6%, or $6.5 million. The board wants us at 8% at least, but we're gradually working there. Over the past 3 years, the fund balance has declined from a high of 14% in 2012. Reduction to school funding, big time. So we're a little bit below where the board wants us to be, so we're 0.4% lower but at the high point we were at 14%. So like I said, that percentage goal that they want us at is around 8%. The process. How does this work? Okay, so in the next couple slides we'll understand, okay, who's all involved in the budgeting process, whose job it is to do what, and who does this, who does that, and also who's involved, and how does the school board, what is their role in this whole aspect as well throughout the budgeting process. So the first part is the approval of this budget usually takes place in June at the board meeting. Now this takes months of work. It's not just, okay, hey, I'm going to throw this together in 5 minutes and make it work. So this takes multiple works. So like you said, he has a collaborative effort that begins in the buildings. So it starts with principals, works your way down to, especially in my area, department heads and everything all the way down. Then it progresses to the central office team for final development in early May. They're working on that currently. Okay, looking at budget for next year's school year. How does this work? How do we get this to do everything working better? The school board's enrollment. They have final approval. They can say yes, they can say no. It has to be done in early June because it has to be submitted to the state by the end of June. So we're trying to get it done early so they can understand what's going on. They actually meet twice a month. The school board meets twice a month, And one of those meetings is specifically done and specifically involves all budget summaries and disbursements. Okay, each month, one meeting is just that, only budget, which is, I think, personally, on my own personal level, I think that's awesome that they're looking at each month to make sure that we're on track or we're on goal, and okay, how can we make things better for next year? Right? We do have a finance committee as well, consisting of 3 board members, and they receive the detailed updates and a copy of the proposed budget for the next year. So each, they receive detailed updates on how things are being spent, how things are going there, and a copy of the new budget, so they can look it over and say, okay, maybe this area here needs a little bit less, and this area here needs a little bit more. And it's a collaborative process. It's not just Todd sitting there saying, well, this is what we're going to do, and you're going to deal with it. So Proposal A. This is a big thing that we talked about. I think for 3 units that we discussed it on. How did it affect Kentwood? Well, we had less money. As he put it in our interview process, at one point we had so much money we didn't know what to do with, which is kind of odd, but especially in today's day and age with funding, it is what it is. So we have less money now to work with. He did say one negative aspect of this whole thing is that Lansing controls the purse strings. They control all the money and how it's dispersed. That's one thing he didn't like about it, but that's just kind of him on his little soapbox. But again, it did affect us, but we lost money. We lost a very large amount of money. And again, we lose control of where that money goes. Lansing basically tells us where that money goes. That's the big thing too, is we have less control of what money can go to, what is over here, and how things actually work. So some of the things that he talked about at the very end was just some basic thoughts of, okay, he's actually working on a new model of leadership to empower collaboration with staff. So this is his big thing right now, is he's trying to make sure somebody like myself, who I'm a teacher in the district at the high school, I have a say in what my budget is. He also wants, like a kindergarten teacher, to say what the budget is. That's his big thing, is he wants to look at collaborating with everybody. Empower collaboration. That is huge. Making sure it's not just, okay, central office saying this is what we're doing, but getting representatives from every school or every area of the district to be a part of this as well. He says he's always working at least 6 months ahead. So he's looking at it going, okay, if you're looking at getting into this area of being a business leader for a school, be prepared that if you're in February, you're working in August. You're looking at August of next year already for new schools or for the school budget. And in the summertime, you're looking at wintertime. How are you going to save money? How are you going to do this? How are you going to make sure everything's paid for? So he's always working at least 6 months ahead. Kind of crazy to think that he's working that far ahead, but it's always happening. So a little bit of a recap on this whole thing. I mean, with Todd, it was very interesting to get to know him more on a personal level and to see what he does and get a peek behind the curtain, so to speak, to see what actually happens with the budget and how it's done. And with our school, with my school at Kentwood, we are one of the largest districts in the state. With our enrollment and our funding and everything, we are also the most diverse district in the state. So it's one of those things that, to get to see in behind the curtain, what's going on, how things are being done, and how the money is being spent, is a really, really cool way of understanding that we are getting, the best person is in the position that he's in. And I know he doesn't always get a good rap, but I think personally that he's done an excellent job, and it was nice to get to know him and learn on how certain aspects work in that world. So thanks for listening. Thanks for being, and hopefully you enjoyed this and this cohort as well.